Most people think joint pain is just a natural part of aging, like gray hair or reading glasses. But here's the truth. Many of the aches we attribute to getting older are actually caused by silent inflammation. And surprisingly, it's often coming from what we eat. One of the biggest culprits? Certain vegetables. Yes, you read that right. While vegetables are essential to health, not all of them are your friend, especially when it comes to joint health, energy, and inflammation. In fact, some of the most commonly recommended healthy vegetables may be silently increasing pain, stiffness, and fatigue. And here's what's even more surprising. Removing just a few of these from your diet and replacing them with smarter, science-backed options can dramatically reduce inflammation, protect your joints, and even increase your energy levels. The reason lies in something called oxalates and lectins, naturally occurring plant compounds found in many vegetables. While they help protect plants from pests, they can trigger a low-grade immune response in your body, especially if you're over 40, and your gut lining, mitochondrial efficiency, or joint cartilage is more vulnerable. The result? More inflammation, less joint mobility, and a constant sense of wear and tear you can't quite explain. But here's the good news. Neuroscience and nutritional science now give us clear tools to shift this. You can strategically remove the most problematic veggies and replace them with nutrient-dense, low-inflammatory alternatives that nourish your joints, reduce pain, and energize your cells. In this episode, we're going to break down the 3 vegetables that may be quietly inflaming your joints and what science says about them, the 3 powerful alternatives that support joint health, reduce inflammation, and boost energy, and the 3 how your brain and gut are connected to your joints via something called the gut-joint axis. Simple daily eating protocols that can reduce joint stiffness in as little as 7 days, what to eat before and after movement for optimal joint repair, and how to build an anti-inflammatory eating habit that fuels both mobility and mental focus. Whether you're struggling with arthritis, feeling stiff after workouts, or just want more energy to do what you love, this is about reclaiming control of your body with real science. Let's get into the truth about vegetables, inflammation, and how to fuel your body for strength, mobility, and vitality at any age. If you've ever eaten a healthy salad and then felt bloated, sluggish, or noticed a strange increase in joint stiffness the next morning, you're not imagining things. Well, vegetables are absolutely essential for health. Some of them come with molecular defenses that don't always play nicely with the human body, especially if your gut or immune system is already under strain. Let's start with the science. Plants don't have claws or teeth. To defend themselves, they've evolved chemical compounds that deter pests, mold, and fungi. Among these are oxalates and lectins, 2 of the most studied plant-based anti-nutrients. Oxalates are compounds that bind to minerals like calcium and magnesium in your body, making them harder to absorb. But here's where it gets problematic. Oxalates can also accumulate in tissues, including joints, where they contribute to crystal formation, irritation, and inflammation. In fact, a 2020 review in Frontiers in Nutrition found that diets high in oxalates were associated with increased risk of kidney stones, oxidative stress, and inflammatory joint pain in sensitive individuals. Spinach, beets, and Swiss chard, all considered superfoods, are among the highest oxalate-containing vegetables. And the lowest, if you're eating large amounts daily, especially raw, your body may be accumulating more of these compounds than it can detoxify. And the result is often low-grade joint pain, stiffness, or even tendon irritation. Now let's talk about lectins. These are carbohydrate-binding proteins found in nightshades like tomatoes, eggplant, and bell peppers, legumes, and some grains. While small amounts can be tolerated by many people, in those with gut permeability issues, also known as leaky gut, lectins can cross the intestinal barrier and trigger an immune response. What's happening in your body when this occurs is a bit like setting off a false alarm. The immune system sees the lectins as foreign invaders and ramps up inflammation, which can then travel systemically, including to your joints. This is especially important if you're over 40. As we age, several things change. Our gut lining becomes more permeable. Our immune system becomes more reactive. Our mitochondrial efficiency, the energy factories inside cells, begins to decline, making us more sensitive to inflammatory stress. So if you're eating large amounts of high oxalate or high lectin vegetables, you may be unknowingly triggering a kind of silent war inside your body, one that leaves you feeling stiff, tired, and inflamed without any obvious explanation. Now, does this mean everyone should stop eating these foods entirely? Not necessarily. But it does mean paying attention. If you have joint pain, arthritis, fibromyalgia, or even mysterious fatigue and brain fog, it's worth experimenting with reducing these compounds for a few weeks. Many people report noticeable improvement within 7 to 10 days. A simple tool to apply is the swap plus steam method. Swap out high oxalate vegetables like raw spinach for lower oxalate options like arugula, mustard greens, or bok choy. Steam or pressure cook vegetables like eggplant, peppers, and beans. Heat breaks down lectins and reduces their inflammatory potential. This small change can reduce the immune burden on your system and allow your joints to begin healing from the inside out. And here's a guiding principle. Just because something is a health food doesn't mean it's healthy for you. Your biology is unique. So tune in, test, and track. Now, we'll look at 3 common vegetables that are secretly sabotaging your joints and what science recommends you eat instead. When most people think of joint pain, they imagine the wear and tear of aging, old sports injuries, or maybe arthritis. Few suspect their pain could be tied to the healthy foods they're eating every day. But research now shows that for certain individuals, especially over the age of 40, some vegetables can contribute to chronic inflammation, joint stiffness, and fatigue. Let's look at 3 of the biggest offenders. 1, spinach. Yes, spinach. This leafy green is loaded with nutrients like folate, iron, and vitamin K, but it's also very high in oxalates. A single cup of raw spinach contains over 600 milligrams of oxalates, one of the highest amounts in any food. When oxalates bind with calcium in your body, they form tiny crystals. While most are excreted, excess buildup can lead to issues like kidney stones, joint discomfort, and tissue inflammation. A study published in Clinical Nutrition, 2019, found that people on high oxalate diets had elevated markers of oxidative stress and inflammation, particularly those with lower gut microbial diversity. Your microbiome plays a role here. Certain gut bacteria, like Oxalobacter formigenes, help break down oxalates. But if you've taken antibiotics in the past or have poor gut health, your ability to process oxalates may be compromised. And that's when spinach becomes more of a problem than a solution. 2, tomatoes and other nightshades. Tomatoes, bell peppers, eggplants, and even white potatoes all belong to the nightshade family. These vegetables contain lectins and solanine, compounds that can irritate the gut lining and stimulate an immune response, especially in people with autoimmune conditions or gut permeability issues. A 2018 review in Frontiers in Immunology discussed how food-delect lectins can mimic bacterial antigens and confuse the immune system, leading to low-grade systemic inflammation. In people genetically predisposed to arthritis or inflammatory disorders, lectins can act as a trigger. Tomatoes also contain histamines, which some people don't break down efficiently. This can lead to symptoms like joint pain, skin irritation, and even brain fog. If you feel worse after eating tomato-based dishes, this might be why. 3, beets. Beets are often promoted as a superfood due to their nitrate content, which can enhance blood flow and athletic performance. But beets are also another oxalate-heavy food. In fact, just 1 cup of cooked beets can contain over 150 milligrams of oxalates, still in the high range. For some, especially those prone to kidney stones or joint discomfort, regular beet consumption can increase systemic inflammation. Additionally, beets are high in fructans, a type of fermentable fiber that can irritate the gut, and trigger bloating or immune reactions in people with IBS or SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So what should you do? This doesn't mean you need to avoid these vegetables forever, but if you have joint pain, arthritis, fatigue, or gut issues, it's worth experimenting. Try eliminating these 3 foods for 10 to 14 days and track how you feel. Then reintroduce them one at a time. This process is called an elimination and reintroduction protocol, and it's used in functional medicine and clinical nutrition to identify hidden food sensitivities. Many people are surprised at how much better their joints, mood, and energy feel, often within just a week. And if this insight is helping you see food in a new light, consider subscribing. We break down the science of nutrition, performance, and brain health every week, all backed by research and grounded in real-world tools. Now we'll shift from problem to solution and explore 3 vegetables that actively reduce joint pain, fight inflammation, and energize your cells from the inside out. If you've removed high oxalate or high lectin vegetables from your diet, even for just a couple of weeks, you may start to notice something. Your joints feel less stiff, your energy starts to stabilize, your digestion improves. But now comes the important part. What do you eat instead? Let's shift from defense to offense. Here are 3 powerful vegetables that not only avoid the inflammation triggers we've discussed, they actively help reduce joint pain, support mobility, and fuel your body with clean cellular energy. 1, cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli, sprouts, and kale. Cruciferous vegetables contain a sulfur-rich compound called sulforaphane, one of the most studied plant-based anti-inflammatory molecules. Sulforaphane activates a genetic pathway in your cells known as NRF2, which boosts your body's own antioxidant defenses and reduces the expression of inflammatory genes like NFKB. In a 2014 study published in Arthritis and Rheumatology, sulforaphane was shown to slow cartilage damage in osteoarthritis models and reduce joint inflammation. Broccoli sprouts in particular contain up to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli. To get the benefit, add 1/2 cup of broccoli sprouts daily to your salads or smoothies. Lightly steam kale or Brussels sprouts to improve digestion while preserving anti-inflammatory benefits. 2, avocados, technically a fruit, but nutritionally and behaviorally close to a vegetable. Avocados are loaded with monounsaturated fats, vitamin E, and potassium, all of which support joint lubrication and reduce oxidative stress. But there's something else that makes avocados special. They contain phytosterols, plant compounds that have been shown to reduce the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha, both of which are elevated in joint disorders. A 2010 study in the Journal of Nutrition found that diets enriched with avocado oil reduced markers of inflammation in both animal and human subjects, especially in relation to joint health and cardiovascular function. Avocados also support mitochondrial function, giving your cells more energy to repair tissue, regulate inflammation, and stay resilient under stress. Try this. Add 1/4 to 1/2 an avocado to your first meal of the day. Pairing it with leafy greens also enhances absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, and K, all essential for joint and bone health. 3, sweet potatoes, cooked and cooled. Unlike white potatoes, sweet potatoes are not part of the nightshade family, and they're naturally lower in lectins. They're packed with beta-carotene, vitamin C, and magnesium, all nutrients that contribute to collagen production, tendon flexibility, and immune balance. But there's a metabolic bonus here too. When sweet potatoes are cooked and then cooled, they form resistant starch, a type of prebiotic fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria and helps produce butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid, known to reduce inflammation system-wide, including in the joints. This gut-joint relationship is critical. Remember, inflammation in the gut often travels, and if you can improve your gut environment, you can reduce the inflammatory load elsewhere in the body, including the knees, hips, and spine. Here's a simple protocol. Bake 1 medium sweet potato Let it cool in the fridge overnight and add it cold to a salad, or warm it slightly the next day. Bonus, add a sprinkle of turmeric or black pepper to boost anti-inflammatory effects. These foods do more than just not cause inflammation. They actively help your body fight it. They support the gut, the joints, and the energy systems in your cells. And when combined with strategic movement, hydration, and recovery, they create a nutritional environment where your joints can heal and your vitality can grow. Now, we'll explore a fascinating connection that many overlook: how your gut and your joints are constantly communicating, and how fixing one can dramatically improve the other. If you've ever experienced a flare-up in joint pain after a heavy meal, or noticed that your knees feel worse after a week of poor eating, there's a reason. And it's not just your imagination. The connection between your gut and your joints is real, and it's more powerful than most people realize. This relationship is often called the gut-joint axis. And it works like this. What happens in your gut, particularly the state of your microbiome and intestinal lining, directly influences inflammation throughout the body, including in the joints. Let's break that down. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria that help digest food, regulate your immune system, and produce key nutrients. But it's also a front line in immune defense. About 70% of your immune cells live in the lining of your gut, constantly sampling what you eat and communicating with the rest of your body. When your gut is in balance, meaning the microbiome is diverse, the lining is intact, and there's no chronic inflammation, this system works smoothly. But if the gut lining becomes damaged, as it does from things like stress, antibiotics, excess sugar, alcohol, or inflammatory foods, tiny proteins and bacterial fragments can leak into the bloodstream. This is what scientists refer to as metabolic endotoxemia, or leaky gut. And it triggers a systemic immune response. The body sees these leaked compounds as threats and begins producing inflammatory cytokines. These cytokines don't just stay in the gut, they circulate throughout the body, including into synovial fluid in the joints. A 2016 study published in Nature Communications found that disruptions in the gut microbiome were directly associated with increased arthritis symptoms, particularly in people with rheumatoid or osteoarthritic conditions. When gut health was restored, joint inflammation declined. Here's what's happening in your brain and body when this occurs. The vagus nerve, which connects your brain to your gut, picks up on inflammatory signals. It adjusts your stress response, your mood, and even your pain perception. This is why joint pain, fatigue, gut issues, and even anxiety often show up together. They're all connected through this gut-brain-joint feedback loop. So what can you do to strengthen this axis and protect your joints from the inside out? Here are 3 practical tools backed by science. 1, eat more prebiotic RH vegetables. We talked about resistant starch in sweet potatoes, but there are many other prebiotic vegetables that feed beneficial bacteria, including Jerusalem artichokes, leeks, asparagus, and cooked and cooled lentils. These help promote the production of butyrate, which repairs the gut lining and reduces systemic inflammation. 2, time your eating around movement. Research in the Journal of Applied Physiology shows that light movement post-meal, even a 10-minute walk, can reduce postprandial blood sugar and inflammation. It also stimulates peristalsis, gut motility, and helps clear inflammatory byproducts faster. 3, consider a gut reset protocol for those with joint issues and long-term gut symptoms. A short-term elimination diet or gut repair plan may be transformative. Does it make it legal? Does it make it transformative? This could involve removing inflammatory triggers like gluten, dairy, and nightshades for 2 to 4 weeks, and then reintroducing them while monitoring joint symptoms. If this connection between your gut and your joints is opening your eyes to new possibilities, consider subscribing. Every week, we explore how nutrition, movement, and neuroscience combine to help you build a body and brain that works better longer. Now, we'll zoom in on what to eat before and after movement, whether it's walking, resistance training, or yoga, to reduce soreness, improve mobility, and accelerate joint recovery. If you're moving your body regularly, walking, lifting, stretching, or doing yoga, you're already doing one of the best things for your joints. But here's a key insight from exercise science and nutritional biochemistry. What you eat before and after movement can dramatically affect how your joints feel in the hours and even days that follow. Let's start with what happens during exercise. During exercise, when you move, especially with intensity, you create micro tears in muscle fibers and increase pressure inside your joints. This isn't a bad thing. It's part of how the body gets stronger. But the repair process requires nutrients, amino acids, antioxidants, electrolytes, and anti-inflammatory compounds. If those nutrients aren't available when your body needs them, recovery slows, inflammation lingers, joints become stiff, energy drops. Here's what the research shows. Eating strategically around your workouts, especially after age 40, can help reduce exercise-induced inflammation, improve joint hydration, and accelerate the rebuilding of cartilage and connective tissue. Pre-movement fuel, anti-inflammatory priming, roughly 60 to 90 minutes before movement, aim for a small meal or snack that contains a slow-burning carbohydrate like cooked and cooled sweet potato or oats, a source of healthy fat such as 1/4 avocado or a few walnuts, a pinch of sea salt and magnesium from pumpkin seeds or mineral-rich salt. Why this combo? Carbohydrates provide fuel for your mitochondria, while fats and minerals help reduce oxidative stress. The goal isn't a full meal. It's to provide raw materials for energy and inflammation control without burdening digestion. Also consider 1/4 TSP of turmeric with black pepper in warm water or a smoothie. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been shown to reduce joint stiffness and improve post-exercise recovery in multiple studies, including a 2016 trial in phytotherapy research. Post-movement recovery, joint rebuilding window. The 45 to 90-minute window after movement is when your body is most responsive to repair signals, not just for muscles, but for connective tissue and joint fluid. What should you eat? A, collagen plus vitamin C. Combo collagen contains glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. Amino acids essential for rebuilding cartilage and tendons, but collagen synthesis depends on vitamin C as a cofactor. A simple tool: mix 10 to 15 grams of hydrolyzed collagen powder with water and a squeeze of lemon, or eat it with 1/2 an orange. This combo has been shown in a 2017 AJCN study to significantly increase collagen synthesis in joint tissues, especially when paired with movement. B, joint supportive vegetables and protein. Include lightly steamed cruciferous vegetables like kale or broccoli for their sulforaphane content. Add 20 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, eggs, salmon, or a plant-based blend to help repair muscle and joint structures. Include an anti-inflammatory fat source like olive oil or flax seeds to support mitochondrial and cellular membrane repair. C, rehydration matters. Your joints are 60 to 80% water. After movement, synovial fluid, the fluid that cushions your joints, needs replenishment. Add a pinch of electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, to your post-workout water, or try coconut water with a squeeze of lime and a dash of salt. Think of this as mobility nutrition, eating not just for muscles, but for the ligaments, tendons, and joints that keep you moving. One final tip: avoid high sugar foods post-exercise. While tempting, they can increase oxidative stress and blunt the anti-inflammatory benefits of your movement. Instead, focus on nutrient density, hydration, and anti-inflammatory support. Let's bring it all together into a daily joint health habit, one that's simple, science-backed, and powerful enough to reduce joint pain and boost your energy over time. By now, you've seen how powerful food can be in protecting or damaging your joints. But here's a truth we often forget. It's not what you do once in a while that determines your health. It's what you do every day. That's why this final section is focused on building one simple daily nutritional habit. One that helps lower inflammation, repair cartilage, support gut health, and stabilize energy levels across the entire day. Let's call this the joint vitality routine, a daily food rhythm designed to align with your body's natural healing cycles and the demands of movement, recovery, and regeneration. Hell, from the source of the guidebook, deep work, a toolbox for conscious coupling, rituals, recovery, and morning. Anti-inflammatory activation. The first 90 minutes after waking is when your body is shifting from a fasted, restorative state into activity mode. This is a perfect time to prime your system with nutrients that support mitochondrial energy, joint hydration, and inflammation control. Start with 1 glass of mineral-rich water, add a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of lemon, a small anti-inflammatory drink, warm water plus 1/4 TSP turmeric, plus pinch of black pepper, plus slice of ginger. Then eat a light nutrient-dense breakfast such as 2 eggs with sautéed kale or mustard greens and olive oil, 1/4 avocado for healthy fats, optional, a slice of fermented sourdough or cooked and cooled sweet potato for resistant starch and prebiotic fiber. This combination feeds your gut microbiome, supports joint flexibility, and sets a low inflammation tone for the day. Midday, smart fuel for mobility and repair lunch is your opportunity to refuel your system without spiking blood sugar or triggering inflammatory pathways. Aim for a lean protein source, salmon, lentils, or organic chicken, steamed cruciferous veggies like broccoli or bok choy, 1/2 cup cooked legumes or root vegetables like nuts, pears, or cooled lentils, a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil or tahini for joint lubricating fats. And if you're active in the afternoon, pair this meal with 10 to 15 grams of collagen plus vitamin C about 30 to 60 minutes before exercise to support tissue repair. Evening, gut plus joint regeneration. Evening is when the body shifts into parasympathetic rest and digest mode. This is prime time for repair, and what you eat here either helps or hinders that process. Keep it simple, lightly cooked vegetables like zucchini or squash, a small portion of clean protein, turkey, tofu, or eggs, herbs like parsley, basil, and oregano, all with anti-inflammatory compounds. Optional add-on, a chamomile or ginger tea to soothe digestion and further reduce systemic inflammation. Most importantly, finish eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. This gives your body time to digest and shift into deep repair mode overnight, including for your joints. The neuroscience behind the habit, what's happening in your brain and body as you follow this kind of daily structure. Your circadian rhythms stabilize, which improves hormone regulation and energy. Your gut microbiome flourishes, which reduces systemic inflammation and joint sensitivity. Your immune system calms, shifting from a reactive to a regulatory state, reducing flare-ups, aches, and stiffness. In neuroscience, this is known as a bottom-up regulation effect, where small daily habits change your internal chemistry in a way that improves how you feel, move, and think. Consistency is key. The more days you follow this rhythm, the more your biology adapts to it, creating a foundation for lasting joint health, reduced inflammation, and steady energy. Now, we'll pull all of this together, reground the why, and leave you with a powerful reflection and one small challenge to begin today. Let's take a moment to step back and connect the dots. You've just learned that not all vegetables are created equal, especially when it comes to protecting your joints and fueling your energy. We began with a counterintuitive truth. Some of the most celebrated health foods, like spinach, beets, and tomatoes, contain compounds like oxalates and lectins that, in certain bodies, quietly fuel inflammation. So when we reach for the foods that we know are, for many people over 40, especially those dealing with joint pain, stiffness, or low energy, these compounds can do more harm than good. Then we explored the why, how these compounds trigger immune responses, irritate the gut lining, and travel through your bloodstream to settle in your joints. It's not aging alone that causes pain. It's often silent inflammation coming from the foods we've assumed were helping us. But the most important part of this journey was what came next. You now have a set of powerful, science-backed tools. You know which vegetables to reduce if you're experiencing joint pain, and how to test your own sensitivity using a 10 to 14 day elimination and reintroduction strategy. You've discovered anti-inflammatory vegetables like broccoli sprouts, kale, avocados, and sweet potatoes that actively support joint healing, mitochondrial energy, and immune balance. You understand the gut-joint connection and how restoring your gut lining through prebiotic foods and timing habits can reduce inflammation far beyond digestion. You've learned what to eat before and after movement to improve recovery and reduce joint soreness using strategies like the collagen plus vitamin C combo and post-exercise rehydration with minerals. And finally, you've seen how a simple daily food rhythm, from your first bite in the morning to your last in the evening, can create a biology that resists inflammation and supports strength, clarity, and vitality for years to come. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about eating in a way that works with your body, not against it. Because here's the deeper truth. The choices you make today aren't just about feeling better right now. They shape your future. Every time you eat in a way that lowers inflammation, supports your gut, or fuels your mitochondria, you're casting a vote for a stronger, more mobile, more energized version of yourself. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Just start with one swap, one food, one new rhythm. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, remove one of the top inflammatory vegetables we discuss, spinach, tomatoes, or beets, and replace it with one of the healing options, kale, broccoli sprouts, or sweet potatoes. Notice what changes. Track your energy, your mood, and yes, your joints. Let your body speak. If you try it, drop a comment below and let us know what you experienced. And if this video helped you think differently about food, inflammation, and mobility, consider subscribing. This channel exists to bring you neuroscience-based tools for optimizing your body, your mind, and your life. Because you deserve a body that supports your goals. You deserve to feel strong, mobile, and energized, not just in your 30s or 40s, but in every decade of life. And it starts with what's on your plate. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and stay in motion. So this has been episode 107 of Mastering Disabilities. Again, this is my hope that by interning this episode to help others who are watching, who might be in this situation, that